All right, let's get started. I hope you're ready. Your gut has everything to do with your health. We're going to talk about that today. Plus, I've got 6 very simple ways that you can improve your digestion. This is so important, but before I get there, tell me that you are ready this Monday for some really good information. Type ready in the comments section below. Come on, don't be shy. Let me know that you are ready. Hi, I'm Jonathan Landsman, your host for Natural Health 365 Live. We do this show, and it's all about every single day improving your immune system and protecting your health. This show is broadcasted each day, Monday to Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. We do it every single day at 12 sharp. So mark it on your calendar. Make sure you let your friends and family know about this as well, because we're always talking about something that is super helpful. And the bottom line is, you're not hearing about this in the mainstream media, I would say just about ever at this point, especially with the obsession that they have these days about nothing but violence, rioting, and viruses, without telling you about some helpful information like this. Okay, so if you're new to this show, please do me a favor. I'd really like to connect with you and give you a special hello. Type new in the comments section down below. Love to say hi to all the new people in this show. All right, let's talk about this. Why is gut health so strongly linked to health, overall health for that matter? And it's something that I think is just so easily overlooked, because for the most part, when somebody goes into the doctor's office, they don't feel well. First thing out of the gate should be, let's take a look at what you're eating, and most specifically what's happening that might be going south in you, what's wrong in your digestive system. This is the most important message that millions and millions of people are not hearing on a daily basis. Think about all those visits to the doctor and, okay, what's your chief complaint? Oh, I have a headache. Oh, I'm very tired. Oh, I feel stressed out. Oh, I have this physical pain one place or another. Imagine if every single person were told, well, let's get one thing out of the way right away. How's your gut health? Let's examine that. Let's ask you a few questions. What you're eating, what could be hurting your gut, and from there, move on. Because the bottom line is, and it's a very important thing I know to stress for people who are new to this information, your digestive system, which I often talk about, for many of you who have followed me for a long time, you understand where I'm coming from. The mouth, what is going on inside the mouth? Mercury fillings, root canal treated teeth, cavitations, gum disease, all of this. You know, what's the health of your mouth, the bacteria in your mouth? That's where your digestive system really starts. But even just conventionally speaking, your esophagus, your stomach, your small intestines, and your large intestines have a lot to do with what's happening with your entire immune system. And today, more than ever with this pandemic, everybody is being put to the attention of what is going on with your immune system, and will you be able to defend yourself against a virus? So the immune system is on a lot of people's minds, but we're not talking enough about how the health of the digestive system has everything to do with that. In fact, even conventionally speaking, modern medicine, conventional medicine would admit that 70 to 80% of your immune system is strongly linked to the health of your digestive system. So nowhere else should people be going first to focus on improving, especially if they don't feel well or they're worried about their health. Now, you don't need fancy tests. You don't have to have an MD degree. You don't have to have a PhD degree. You don't have to be this super intelligent person that has special gifts or talents to figure this one out. A big sign that you have gut health problems. I would actually add one more than the one I wrote down here, chronic fatigue. Right away, if you have exhaustion for no particular reason, like you can't say, well, I was sleep deprived. You've been in bed for hours and hours each night, but you still feel chronically tired. That would absolutely show you that you definitely do have digestive issues. Make no mistake about it. But the one I wrote down, that's a biggie, that is grossly, no pun intended, overlooked by modern medicine, and that is constipation, right? Most conventionally trained docs don't really place much emphasis on this, because if you were to walk into the doctor's office and say, I have a bowel movement maybe every other day, sometimes once every 3 days, it is totally okay for the vast majority of conventional docs to hear you say that. Their reaction is almost nothing. And that's absolutely absurd. The human body is designed to have a bowel movement and should, with the length of our digestive tract, right, especially our small and large intestines, and especially when you think about the amount of food and drink that goes in every 24 hours, think about it. You should normally and naturally be eliminating with a long, strong, healthy bowel movement every single day, if not twice or 3 times a day. Now that sounds crazy to most people because, again, they are suffering with a case of constipation. And it's just like I've mentioned before about gum disease. It's almost as if this gets no respect at all. Not nearly enough respect at the very least. When you're constipated, that is a sign that your digestive system is breaking down. Your body's inability to take toxins that are absolutely gathering in your body and your inability to get rid of them. And even worse, as a picture, think about it. Even though I said before I didn't have a pun intended in terms of conventional docs grossly overlooking this. If you're backing up and you're constipated each day, where are all those toxins going? You think they're somehow in some safe deposit box, not doing anything to the rest of your body? Those toxins are going to be reabsorbed into your bloodstream if you're not getting rid of them on an efficient basis. So this is a big warning sign, which is the title of this episode today, this show, is that people really need to appreciate the importance of gut health and some of the 2 big signs that you definitely do have digestive issues. The chronic fatigue, absolutely, and constipation, absolutely a problem in your gut that should be addressed as quickly as possible. Don't let this linger on, because that's when we get other problems later on. Everything that we can imagine, from cancer, heart disease, diabetes, autoimmune disorders, skin problems, the list goes on and on. Brain fog, literally inability to concentrate and your brain function directly connected to what's happening inside your gut. The healthier your gut, the healthier the rest of your body, and it's absolutely linked to your immune system. So let's move on. 6 tips. Let's really get into this now to improve your gut health. I cannot emphasize this first tip more than I am right now. Get well hydrated. I know, I've heard that before. I've read it in magazines. Well, the message doesn't seem to be getting through. Not enough people are talking about it. Your closest family members, friends, they're not letting you know about it. The doctors are not letting you know about it. half your body weight in ounces of water every day. And please make sure that water is as clean as possible. There's a lot of different ways that you can clean it up. There's the Berkey water filtration purification system that doesn't require any electricity at all. You could just stick that on your countertop. There are also water purification systems that you can have countertop connected to your kitchen sink. There are also whole house water filtration systems that are really good that you can look into. The bottom line is make sure that that chlorine, the fluoride, all the pharmaceutical drugs, the metals that are floating around in the water. Think about it. Just old lead pipes alone. Think Flint, Michigan. How bad that was years ago and how politicians hid what was happening to people every day, that they were getting poisoned by the lead pipes, making all those toxins get into the water and then fed to everybody's home. And those people were putting it into their cooking water, their drinking water. It was horrific. So again, please be careful. If you're using refrigerator water, you got to be careful. A lot of times these little filters that they have in these refrigerators, it's just not enough to remove the toxins. So when I say get well hydrated, drink more water. It's so important, yes, but make sure you're drinking really clean, pure water. If you're drinking from plastic bottles, make sure that that plastic is not leaching out the BPA, right? You don't need bisphenol A soaking into your water because these water bottles are on skids, pallets for so long, shrink wrapped in a lot of heat. That plastic gets into the water as well. And another interesting note about those that drink plastic water, right? Plastic bottled water. Did you know that the ones that make those major water bottle companies that make those plastic bottles to put the water in, they're making those bottles right away. As soon as they make it, the water goes in immediately afterwards. It's not like these bottles are made and stored in warehouses by the tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of bottles so that the plastic outgassing is all done and it's nice and safe and natural, and then they put the water in. No, they're forming these bottles with all those chemical fumes, and then they're throwing the water in, sealing it up, and then shrink wrapping it on top of that. So imagine how much toxicity people are drinking when they're not mindful of this. So again, I'm always quick to say get well hydrated, but you've got to make sure that that water is really clean, pure water. Another one that I don't want to leave out, if you're fortunate enough to be close to a clean source of spring water, and it's an amazing thing, folks, spring water that's going up against gravity through the ground, right up into these mountains and then out the top, and out comes this pure spring water. It is the best, most nutritious water that you could have. It's living water, and if you can get access to some of that, all the power to you. Okay, number 2 tip, eat more fibrous foods. And I almost, I was struggling with this one. I almost want to say number 3 tip before number 2, and you'll understand in a moment. But bottom line is, all the food I talk about, organic as much as you can. But the fiber, it's not about you absorbing fiber into your cells, but it's more like a broom sweeping the insides of your intestinal tract. Without enough fiber in your diet, it is just easier for stuff to accumulate inside of you. The kind of stuff you don't want to have in you that putrefies. Fiber is like just kind of vacuuming or sweeping up the inside of your house to keep it nice and clean. Try to make sure you eat lots of fibrous foods. It's obvious where you can get that. Organic fruits and vegetables, great source in their natural state, and eating them. But again, I want to quickly move to 3, because if you've got gut health issues, digestive problems, so often I hear that people say, I can't eat that, man. I mean, my gut will kill me if I have so much fibrous food. I'll get a stomach ache, a belly ache. Well, number 3 is huge tip for people with digestive problems. Chew your food well. And I mean, if I showed you what I used to do, what taught me back in my macrobiotic days, we used to go to these summer conferences. And at these conferences where we studied from these teachers and hung out with everybody talking about health and picking up our meals every day, there was a special tent as part of these summer conferences outside where people would get their food, sit down, not say a word to each other, and be in this sort of eating meditative state where they would chew every mouthful of food 100+ times. Now, look, I'm not suggesting that that's what you do with every single mouthful now, but the point was crystal clear. It was amazing what happened on a physical, mental, emotional, even on a spiritual level, chewing the food that much. I can tell you just on a very practical level that when you chew your food really well, you're going to be breaking it down so much more in your mouth and taking it so much easier on a poorly functioning digestive system. And on top of that, you're giving your body the opportunity, the chance to absorb nutrients by mixing with the saliva, breaking down that food, swallowing it then, and then giving your body a better chance to absorb all the possible nutrients that might be in your food. Of course, we're hoping you're not eating fast food and junk food, because then game's over. Won't really even matter so much that you chew your food a lot, except for just the physical part. People that have trouble with their gut tend to eat very quickly and have large particles of food going down the chute into their gut. Remember, folks, I'm going to say the obvious. Your small and large intestines don't have teeth to break it down. So all the acids and the churning and time, if it's a little too big to begin with, you're making it very stressful on your body. And I'll go back to what I said to you before. Think so much about this, how exhausted you feel after meals. I would venture to say that if you just simply chewed your food more before swallowing each mouthful, you would feel way less tired. Same food, don't even change anything. Watch how different you feel. Okay, so number 4, avoid processed sugars. So important. You hear this all the time, but on a digestive function level, it's just the same thing or a parallel to your cell function. The more sugars you have, the more blah your gut's going to be. You're going to make it more inflamed on a cellular and an organ function level, and it's just going to be much more sluggish. And God knows people with digestive problems, they need more vitality, more energy in their gut. Stay away from those things that literally are like throwing water on a fire in a good way. And processed sugars just really wipe out your energy. So, that's a biggie. Now, number 5 is an interesting one. Not for everybody, okay? But can be extremely helpful, and along the way, get a lot more antioxidants into you. A vitamin C flush. Now, what that does is it really kind of gives you an immediate cleaning out of your gut. By building up the amount of vitamin C that you take, preferably in the morning, on an empty stomach, underline, bold that, what I just said. Do not eat a heavy breakfast and then try to load up on a lot of vitamin C over the course of 2, 3, 4 hours. You're going to be extremely uncomfortable with gas and belly pains. But on a relatively empty stomach, after you've woken up, from good night's sleep, hopefully, you start taking lots of C, thousands of milligrams every half hour, every hour. And as you keep going through 2, 3, 4 hours, all of a sudden you start noticing a rumbling. And then you get that bowel movement that's very loose, watery, and flushing out all the toxins in your gut. That is what they normally call a good, healthy vitamin C flush. This is different than getting diarrhea from food poisoning, folks. This is not the same thing. A vitamin C flush that you deliberately do to yourself is a way of just building up that water volume that's in your gut as you're taking vitamin C with water and taking it in over time, over and over again, until you get up to that level of whatever it might be. The sicker you are, the more C you need, and the more you may need to get to that vitamin C bowel tolerance level. For some, it's 10,000. Others, it could be 15,000. For others, it could be well over 20,000 milligrams before you start feeling that rumbling. Then you can back off a little bit. And then a short while later, va-boom, you get a cleaning out of your gut. And that's a really good thing. And it might help you to get a jump start on feeling a whole lot better really, really soon. Of course, normally speaking, I think everybody should be taking thousands of milligrams of vitamin C, a good source of vitamin C every day, because with all the stress we've got going on today, physically, mentally, and emotionally, vitamin C is just, it's a winner every day. Okay, so the last one, number 6, eat probiotic-rich foods. Again, if you've got gut problems, I'll give you my number one pick, although I'm not Japanese. It was something that I really gained a tremendous amount of respect for over many, many years, talking now almost 35 years in the health and fitness industry. Way back at the beginning, when I studied with the macrobiotic teachers, they taught me how to make miso soup. Miso paste is a fermented soybean product, organic, of course, is what you should go for. Is a great paste to dissolve in liquid and then put into your soup mixture. Miso soup is traditionally with the miso paste. You've got some diced up onions in there, wakame, which is a sea vegetable, rich in minerals, great for your body. And also, if you want to get really super fancy, you could cut up a small amount of these dark leafy greens like kale. And when you make that into a soup broth, man, that is really healing for your gut. And for all of you out there who know that you're really suffering with digestive aches and pains and uneasiness, this is a very calming, highly nutritious food to put into your body that, again, is super easy to digest. Your body is going to thank you. So miso soup is one, but sauerkraut, really good. Again, chew it up really well, but sauerkraut is amazing. Organic cabbage, some sea salt, and making your own fresh sauerkraut or getting a good quality sauerkraut from a local source, wherever you can get it. That's an amazing probiotic type food. Fermented veggies, you could do that as well. There's all kinds of vegetables that you can do where you get them fermented. And that's a way of introducing a really good mix of healthy bacteria back into your gut. I will say one thing I didn't really note for myself, but it's important for you to understand that if you've got a history of taking antibiotics at any time in your past, your gut is decimated to one degree or another. Obviously, if you've taken more antibiotics than somebody else, you're looking at more of a deficit that you have to rebuild. That's why this good, healthy bacteria is really great to have in these natural, healthy foods that so many of us used to eat so much more in the old days. Now, with all this processed food, you talk to most people about fermented veggies or sauerkraut, and you know what? A lot of people are not having it at all the entire year. And this is something we should be adding into our diet on a weekly basis. You ask most people, have you had a sandwich with bread or pasta? And they're like, oh, yeah, sure. I've had bread. I'd have bagels. I've had potato chips. I've had Doritos. I've had all kinds of stuff like that. Meanwhile, all these things they just listed, flour, 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 flour. I mean, it goes on and on. People have the illusion of eating all these different foods, sandwich bread, pasta dishes. It's like flour, flour, flour. It's way too much processed sugar, and people think they have all these different foods. So you got to introduce, and they're devoid of really healthy bacteria that our gut needs from these fermented foods. So we got to get that back, no doubt about it. Okay, some bonus tips just to finish up. We'll do it real quick. Prepare your food at home. You want to improve your digestion? I think from what you just heard me say before, between the sandwiches you get at a deli, the stuff you could buy at a supermarket in a box, ready to go, shove it in your mouth, you want to start making food at home from scratch. Make it as easy a recipe as possible. But I guarantee you, you are taking your gut health to a whole other level if you just start preparing food more at home. Another one, drink peppermint or ginger tea. Super easy thing daily. Get a cup or two of that into you. Now, not everybody likes one over the other, right? Just find what you like. Peppermint, ginger tea, great. Squeeze a little lemon in water. It's another thing to get into your gut. Really super healthy way to take care of your digestive system. Minimize alcohol use. Just like I said to you before about processed sugars. You don't get more processed than alcohol in terms of sugar. Minimizing alcohol use is going to help you to bring vitality back to your gut. The more alcohol you drink, the more exhausted your digestive system is going to feel. Your intestinal tract in general is going to just feel listless, right? So I want you to have that picture in your mind. It's just drowning it out and just killing it of energy and vitality. That's what you need. So cut it down. Last one, massage. Direct massage of your gut. Really healthy thing to help your digestive system to literally increase the circulation and activity going around in your gut. Plus, it's a great self-discovery. Hey, where am I hurting? The left side, more of a descending colon type direction going downward, or in that upward type direction of the ascending colon on the right side. When you're squeezing and poking around with your fingers, you can really get a sense of where you might be more sensitive. Maybe right down the middle, just below the rib cage, or kind of like right in between both sets of ribs, right on the right and left, right there below the heart. You know, you're looking at your stomach area directly, way up high there. So it gives you a good feel as to how you're doing by just doing your own self-massage. But just overall, it's great for circulation and improving the health of your gut. So that's it. I mean, I hope this was helpful to you. My big question of the day, you see, is posted right there. What do you do to improve your digestion? Sound off. I'm not pretending for 1 second that this is an end-all list. I've covered it all. There's nothing else you have to be concerned about. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody's health status is different. Everybody's age and energy level and toxicity levels are different. And there are some things that will be way more helpful than others. But I hope some of these tips, if they resonate with you, you can pick up on them and try to do them a little bit more and just see if it helps you, okay? And just as a reminder, our show, Natural Health 365 Live, is every single day, Monday to Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time. So tune in to the next one. Be sure to give this as a gift to health to your friends and family. Share this show with others, because why not? It's easier than trying to convince somebody, folks. Just pass along the information, ask somebody to check it out, and just say to them, hey, what do you think? Just see if it actually helps, because planting a seed is what this show is all about. Thanks a lot for joining us, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Take care, everybody.